Matvei Michkov is an automatic weapon in overtime. Oh my god, this guy scores again. Not even that long in the 3-on-3. Travis Konechny forces a turnover, springs Matvei Michkov onto a breakaway, and that's how the Flyers finish off this back-to-back here after Thanksgiving, beating the St. Louis Blues in OT by a score of 3-2. Oh man, Matvei Michkov, man, he is absolutely electric. It is so fun to watch. It's not even real, man. It doesn't feel real. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into TTP Sports. And before we get into this Flyers recap of their overtime win over the St. Louis Blues, if you are new to the channel, viewing for the first time, or viewing for a little bit, I definitely recommend you hitting that subscribe button. It would do me such a great deal of service. Also, because we just surpassed 1,000 subscribers, now it is time to start the next journey of growing this channel even more. I'd really appreciate you if you do that. It helps with the algorithm. You join along in this family, along with the magicalness that is Matvei Michkov, talking about him 24/7 along with other Philly sports teams. Join in the fun. You can also drop a like. You can also leave a comment. Check out the things in the description below. I would very much appreciate it. Oh, man. Matvei Michkov is here. Matvei Michkov is a Philadelphia Flyer. Him and Travis Konechny are just an automatic in overtime. It is crazy. As the Blues are trying to make their own push with Jordan Kyrou at the start of overtime, the Flyers do their usual thing. They put Couturier out there with Konechny, try to win the faceoff. Doesn't happen, but Couturier still gets off the ice for Matvei. Konechny forces that turnover as the Blues are pushing into the Flyers' end, and Michkov, cheating on the play, as he typically does, gets the breakaway. I honestly thought Parayko was going to catch up to him on the back check, but Michkov's quick hands, his quick release on the backhand, finds a way to beat Jordan Binnington, who was just a brick wall the entire night for St. Louis. Realistically, the only reason why St. Louis was even involved in tonight's game. The Flyers, they definitely had their stretches where they were getting outplayed, but I can also throw that to they're playing a back-to-back, including the travel from playing yesterday in Philadelphia to traveling to St. Louis overnight. So there definitely was going to be some fatigue involved as the game progressed. And you definitely saw that in the later stages of the second period, throughout the majority of the third period, once the Blues finally tied it, over halfway through into the third, getting into the final stages there. But then the Flyers had a brilliant response. Bobby Brink driving the net just hits the post as Jordan Binnington is literally trying to be Dominic Hasek in net. He's like flopping to his one arm. His glove hand is down, giving Brink little to no separation between the net and the post. But then a great follow-up by Tyson Forrester to get to the loose puck and roof it past Binnington to give the Flyers the lead right back at 2-1. Sadly, as the Blues empty their net, you get into that final 2-minute stretch. Travis Konechny takes the hooking penalty. If you want to call it weak, whatever you feel. Yeah, it definitely could be on the weaker side, but, he hooks the stick. The player for St. Louis falls down. The ref is going to call that mostly 99 times out of 100. And St. Louis goes to the power play. And the Flyers had their chances to clear, but there was a situation. Alexei Kolosov made a brilliant save, and Alexei Kolosov deserved to win this game in regulation because that's how great he was, stopping all the breakaways that the Blues had, all the odd-man rushes that St. Louis had. He was brilliant, just like Jordan Binnington was. And he made an unbelievable save in the dying seconds on the penalty kill, but sadly the rebound just stayed right there. Ristolainen couldn't clear the crease. Blues get to the loose puck, and they managed to bury the loose change to tie the game up with around like 18 seconds to go. So that definitely sucks in that instance. So it does force overtime. You got the point, but, Matvei Michkov, automatic overtime. Bingo. And you get the 2 points. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But, the Flyers definitely had their chances to make this more of a lead for themselves to where they didn't even have to get into overtime. Joel Farabee had 2 breakaways in 1 shift and could not find a way to bury. This man is never going to score for the rest of his life, for the rest of his career. I don't know what Joel Farabee did to deserve this, but this man just can't finish. He just cannot finish. He had so many. He's been having so many chances the past few weeks for him not to find a way to put the puck in the back of the net. He had a couple of chances against the Rangers where he couldn't finish it, and obviously the 2 breakaways tonight in that third period, which could have given the Flyers a 3-1 lead. You know, gotta find a way to bury, dude. Gotta find a way to bury. I can only feel bad for you for so long, even though I do feel bad for him at the end of the day. But you gotta find a way to bury on those chances. You just gotta. It is insane that he is struggling this much to bury. But also, speaking of Matvei Michkov's greatness, going back to not just the overtime winner, the first goal of the game for the Flyers, in that first period, you got a nice clearing attempt from Morgan Frost outlet pass, which springs the Flyers on a 2-on-1. Matvei Michkov, with all the patience in the world, to find a way to get this pass through perfectly, perfect thread through needle, to Owen Tippett, who is backdoor just having to tap the puck in past Binnington. That was the most crisp, perfect pass that I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Even if you look at the replay, it looks so simple. But Michkov has so much patience, so much time to find a way to perfectly place that pass right on the stick of Tippett for him to just put it in the net. And Tippett couldn't miss from that range because he was directly right in front of the goddamn net. And if Owen Tippett found a way to miss that, all hands on deck, because I would have lost my goddamn mind. I honestly am imagining it right now. And it would have not been pretty if Owen Tippett had missed a net there. But he did. He didn't. He buried it. He buried it. That's the most important thing. Matvei Michkov with 2 points on the night. After, the past couple of games where he probably should have got at least a few points. Should have had a point in the game against Vegas. Should have had a point in one of their more recent overtime games against Nashville. Had a couple of breakaways in those scenarios. So, hey, he's getting his chances. He was going to have the game where he recorded multiple points with the way that he was playing and getting those chances offensively. That pass that he had yesterday to Tyson Forrester against the Rangers, between the legs pass. Some people are going to have to start burying for him. He can't bury all the time. And he was going to find a way eventually. He was going to find a way eventually. And it is so fun watching this kid's creativity, witnessing it. I just can't get over that. It looks so simple, that 2-on-1 play, because he has so much time. He has so much space to just methodically thread that puck through the defender for St. Louis to get it perfectly on the stick of Tippett for him to direct it in. Literally, every time I just think of it, it looks so simple, but it's probably so complex. There's just so much time for Michkov to take his time and find a way. It looks, I'm just going to keep saying this because it looks so simple, but it isn't, because Matvei Michkov makes it look simple, because that's how great he is of a playmaker. Dude is so wickedly creative. It's not even funny. It's amazing how creative this kid is. We keep saying every single game how he could probably have 1-2 assists each game, with how he finds a way to get passes through when you don't even expect it. That's how fantastic Matvei Michkov is. It's insane. It is completely insane. And hey, kudos to the Flyers to getting 4 points in this 2-game back-to-back here. I would have been fine, even though saying that I would have been fine with 3 of 4 points in these 2 games, when realistically you probably should have won in regulation. If you read it at face value, getting 3 of 4 points in a back-to-back span when you're traveling to a different city, yeah, you'll take that any day of the week. But then when you watch the game, you see them, Blues tied it with 18 seconds left in the game, send it to overtime. you would still kind of have that sour taste in your mouth of getting 3 of 4 points because realistically you should have won the game in regulation with all the chances that you did have. And thankfully they did. And kudos to this team to finding ways to keep winning because they do keep winning. If you just look at their recent stretch right here, I believe, let's look at it. Let's basically just look at this entire month of November and all the overtime games this team loves to play in. So let's just look at this month here. So how many wins do they have in the month of November? So they got one win there in the shootout against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the win in the shootout against San Jose, the win in overtime against the Ottawa Senators, the win in regulation against Buffalo, the win in overtime against Chicago, the win in overtime against Nashville, the win yesterday against New York, and the win today against St. Louis. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in this month of November compared to 1, 2, let's see, 3, 4 regulation losses and 1, 2 overtime losses. So, 8, 4, and 2 in this month of November, if I'm doing my math and counting correctly. And if we just look at the standings to begin with, because NHL.com always shows the last 10 games for each team, the Flyers in their last 10 games, they're 7-2-1. So they've been finding ways to win. And I believe they're 4-0-1 in their last 5 games. So they're finding ways to get points. They're finding ways to get wins. And, the goaltenders have also been a big piece of that as well because Kolosov has been playing much better. He really deserved today's win for how fantastic he was in net to begin with because of all the saves that he was making tonight. If you just look at Kolosov's stats, he saved 25 shots, 25 saves on 27 shots. He was just unreal today. All the odd man rushes that St. Louis had, all the breakaways that he had, just looked cool, calm, and collected. The first goal that he allowed for St. Louis to tie the game up at 1, turnover in the Flyers zone. There was also a replay, too, that kind of showed that the Blues might have been offside there, but the Flyers didn't elect to challenge it. So there could be an argument to that whatsoever, but, Flyers didn't decide the challenge. It is what it is. There was a little bit of a screen in front. Kolosov not in position because he can't see the puck. Not really going to blame it on him. The last goal, I'm not going to blame on him. He makes an unbelievable save, and the Flyers defenders just can't find a way to clear the rebound out of the crease to prevent the Blues from getting to it. So, and Kolosov really didn't need to see much action in overtime because it ended basically like that with Konechny's forced turnover and Michkov's goal in the breakaway. So, hey, he gets a rest in overtime, and he played absolutely spectacular, Kolosov did. So, he's also one of the main reasons why the Flyers won this game. So just looking at some of the other stats today, Michkov with the 2 points, Bobby Brink with a point on the assist to Tyson Forrester's goal. Travis Konechny had an assist in this game. Noah Cates had an assist as well. Morgan Frost had an assist. Tyson Forrester with a goal. Owen Tippett with a goal. So nice stuff all around the board. Basically same lineup, just instead Zamula comes in for Granz. So there's basically all that stuff right there. But then you also see just in general NHL news, you see that, Jiricek did get traded to the Minnesota Wild. I believe it was for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a player, if I'm not mistaken. So it was David Jiricek. Jiricek, I believe that was the trade in totality. Yeah, so Minnesota. Yeah, so Minnesota to get David Jiricek and a 5th-round pick, and then the Blue Jackets get Damon Hunt, a 2025 first-round pick, which is top 5 protected, a 2027 second-round pick, and a 4th-round pick, I believe, in a later year. Oh, actually, they also got a 3rd-round pick in that as well, so they get a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, a 4th, and Damon Hunt, a defenseman from the Minnesota Wild, in exchange for Jiricek and a 5th-rounder in 2025. I think the Flyers could have done that, but I'm not really going to harp on that today. I don't think that's the time and space, too, even though I would like to see... There's arguments for trading for Jiricek, and there's arguments not to, because the defensive pool for the Flyers is just so clogged as it is with defensemen in general. Would I like to see some of these assets be moved more for a center? Yeah, probably, but I would also like to see this team take risks on younger players that have a high ceiling that just don't fit on other teams' rosters. I would like to see that personally, just because I personally don't think with the way this team is trying to build, especially that they're being competitive at the same time, you really cannot rely on hitting all of your draft picks, especially if your draft picks are going to be in the later rounds, well, in the later stages of rounds. I don't think that's sustainable. Personally, I just don't think so, because then you're really going to have to rely on your development of these players. And still, those players, when you draft them, they're only like 2, 3, 4 years away of developing. So that's even a long time right there, where a guy in the top 5 could be like 1 to 2 years if they do make the NHL roster right out of the draft. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I'm not going to harp on that tonight because personally, I just don't feel like it. I personally do not feel like it. I want to talk about the win. I want to focus on the win because that is, at the end of the day, the most important thing right there for the Flyers. And right now, once again, just looking at the standings just to see where this team does place, because they were in a wild card spot yesterday, tied with the Rangers, and they are still tied with the New York Rangers after tonight's game, because I do believe the Rangers won today. They snapped their losing streak against the Montreal Canadiens, so both teams have 27 points, tied for the first and the second wildcard spot. The teams that are on the outside looking in, the Boston Bruins, the Buffalo Sabres, Pittsburgh, and then the rest of the teams that are in the Eastern Conference right there. So, hey, and also good for the Flyers, because after this stretch, especially with all these overtime games they have been playing, and it's really crucial for them to get these wins. Now, since it's the last day of November, going into December now, they have 4 days off. They have Sunday through Wednesday off. So 4 days off there to rest, relax, and to prepare for their December schedule. So, hey, they've been playing a lot of games. They've been traveling a lot. They've been playing a lot of overtime games especially, so it's really crucial for them to get this rest. So it's probably a good time, and especially it's also coming off of some wins. So you could feel good about yourself going into this 4-day break right here for this team. So, hey, take rest whenever you can, because sometimes it can become very scarce. Even though I do think at a stage in February where they do like the 4-nation face-off or something like that, there's like a 2-week span of off days. So, but still right now you're in the month of December. You can get some 4 days rest here, because that really doesn't happen at this point. And realistically, the Flyers do have a lot of off days this month. They got 4 days off in the first week of December. They got 4 days off in the third week of December, but not in a row, like 3 days off in a row, then a separate day off. Then they got their Christmas break. So they do have a lot of off days here in December. So they're going to be resting their bodies a lot this month. So that is very crucial as well. But yeah, just a fun win overall. Much deserved win overall. Man. Oh, God. So let's get to the Anytime Hotline. We do have another voicemail here from Sean. Let's see what he has to say on another Flyers victory.
Matvei Magic and OT. That's become the norm for the Flyers as of late. Hell of a play by Travis Konechny, how to go from goat to hero in about a 2 to 3 minute span. But that's a gutty win for the Flyers, a back-to-back, collection of points. That's huge. I mean, to have that game be tied up the way it was, you would have been okay with a point, but kind of dejected if you had lost it. But again, a hell of a play by Konechny on the poke check and to swoop the pass all in one motion, and Michkov does the rest. Now you get a nice break, huge test against Florida on Thursday, but this team's playing well and they're winning games the way that they have to win them. They're not going to score a lot of goals, so the goaltending has to be exemplary. It was again tonight. And they're going to have to be opportunistic when they get chances, and they have been. So nice back-to-back efforts by the Flyers. Nice effort to get a win tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So, and yeah, just looking at their upcoming schedule right here. So the first game that they do play coming out of the break, the 4-day break that is, so they play Florida at home on Thursday the 5th. Then they play in Boston on the 7th at 1. Then it's another back-to-back and Boston on the 7th and at home against the Utah Hockey Club. First time seeing them, technically, that franchise. Then you play the Columbus Blue Jackets on the road on the 10th. You play Detroit at home on the 12th. You play in Minnesota at 2 o'clock on the 14th. Then you have 3 days off after that. Another back-to-back here after the days off. You play on the 18th in Detroit. Then you're at home on the 19th against the Kings. At home on the 21st against the Blue Jackets. Then on the road on the 23rd against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the first time you'll be seeing them this season. Then you have 4 days off for the Christmas break. Then you go on your Western California road trip. The 28th in Anaheim. That's a back-to-back right here as well. 28th in Anaheim, 29th against the Kings. 31st on New Year's Eve against the San Jose Sharks. Then you play on January 2nd against the Vegas Golden Knights. So definitely some interesting things that are going on right here for this Fly Guys team. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see where this takes them this month. But hey, much deserved break right here for this team. They've been winning a lot more recently, and it's fun. It's definitely fun. So, we'll see where it takes them, boys. But as for right now, we'll call it quits tonight. Tomorrow, Eagles, Baltimore Ravens. That should be exciting. So you'll be getting the live stream recap tomorrow. After that game, thank the Lord it's not. It's not a late game. It's 4:25, so it's more manageable in terms of recapping and editing and all that crap. So thank the Lord for that it's not a freaking NBC game for once. And yeah, that should be fun. And in terms of the 4 days off, we'll figure out what we do during those couple of days there. We can definitely talk some birds. Hopefully the Phillies make some goddamn news for once as we're getting closer to the winter meetings. And we want to bring up some more Sixers talk if they get into the news business again, because even though they won tonight against Detroit, they still stink. So we'll find ways. We'll find ways. So appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to leave a comment. Always appreciate that stuff. And also use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. It is a great deal. Do not pass it up. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.